Florida is synonymous with vacation for a lot of you guys, and a lot of people come down here and end up wanting to buy a short-term rental or an Airbnb, a VRBO. They come and stay in one and they're like, hey, I wish we just had one of these ourselves so we could come whenever we want, and we help a lot of clients do that. Helping other clients right now buy investment properties and build portfolios of these. But let me show you some of the ins and outs of how to make it work in the Tampa area. Here we go. I'm Sam with Living in Tampa, and we are a team of realtors here in the Tampa area. As always, we'd love to win your real estate business, but today we're going to talk about short-term rentals, and let me just add some local insights as I'm helping clients buy these properties and as I've really studied the map and know the ins and outs of it. And there's a lot of quirks related to this, but this is a very common path for a lot of real estate investors, but also just for people that want to have vacation options in different places they like to go. And I'm gonna refer to these as short-term rentals and Airbnbs, and you know what I mean though. Like, these are houses or single properties, single family homes or condos where you can rent it, you can stay for one night, you can stay for 7 nights, you can stay for a month. And each of these towns and different areas of the counties have different rules. We're gonna get into that, but let's just explain the concept overall. So you buy a house, you furnish it, you make it kind of attractive. We'll talk about some of the ways to really make it attractive. But then you list it on these sites, you get people to stay, you try to get reviews, and that becomes the business that you're running when you own a property like this. And when you look on these sites, the Tampa area, because we have really beautiful beaches, we have other attractions nearby, or even Orlando. Sometimes people would stay here and then travel to Orlando, go to Disney World, or stay there and then travel over here to the beaches. We have a lot of draw to the area. And I mean, my opinion is you should just move here. You don't need to buy a short-term rental. You could just move here. I'd love to help you find a house. And that's why a lot of people do end up moving here. But let's start with the map. Obviously, we talk about location all the time. That's obviously a big determinant of where you want to live, but also obviously a big determinant of price and value in the long run. But when it comes to short-term rentals, location is super important because there are so many towns that make up these counties. So we're talking Hillsborough County, Pinellas County, and Pasco County specifically. There are a lot of towns that make up these areas, like 50 towns. It's not just a couple here and there. Tampa isn't actually that big compared to the whole county. There's a lot of different areas. But when we're looking for areas that allow short-term rentals, obviously the city could allow it. Then the next level down, your neighborhood could not allow it. Your HOA could stop you from doing it. And there's all these different layers that we have to kind of decipher, but the surest bet is being in an unincorporated area with no HOA. Those are our best bets when it comes to finding areas that allow short-term rentals without really any questions. My client Kyle is actually buying this house, and as we're here for the inspection, I was talking to one of the neighbors just to kind of get the neighbor sentiment on short-term rentals. Like, hey, what do you think of this being a short-term rental? I was just asking her. She was bringing her dumpster in and just chatting with her a little bit, and she's like, it's quiet, but I wish it was a family. So even the neighbors, the neighborhood, the sentiment around that is something as a real estate investor you have to navigate when you have people in and out, and when you're trying to keep the neighbors somewhat appeased, but obviously you don't care that much about what they think, because if it's a business, the goal is actually to make money and not to make everyone happy. So when we look at the map, you can see even Pinellas County. Let's focus on Pinellas County for now, the beach county. There are pockets that are unincorporated. Sometimes there's whole towns that are unincorporated. Palm Harbor is a great example of that. Right now we're in an unincorporated area of St. Petersburg, down here by the beaches, but most of St. Petersburg is incorporated and only allows 30-day rentals. Now, you look at online and you're like, well, there's other options available. Yeah, people just break the rules. And it's not something I recommend. I know a lot of people that get away with it, but especially if you're buying from a distance and you don't live here locally, that's not a route I recommend. There are other situations in St. Petersburg where there's a lot of older homes with ADUs or accessory dwelling units back in the alley. It's a garage apartment or something. So if it's a primary residence in one of the buildings, you could rent the other one out as a short-term rental. And sometimes that looks differently on the sites than it actually is. But when we're looking for the easiest areas to do it, there are pockets like down here in St. Petersburg, in Seminole, in Largo, up in Palm Harbor. Even there's unincorporated pockets of Clearwater that do allow short-term rentals. And if you want to hop on a Zoom call, you can always reach out and we can schedule a Zoom call. I can show you these specific areas, specific listings that would work for this. because sometimes the listing is gonna say it works, but it doesn't actually. We actually had a property on our list to see yesterday that we cut from the list because on the listing, the agent said it was available for short-term rentals. And then I dug into the details of the city and saw that it wasn't. Now we can always make contracts contingent on that. That's something we've done plenty of times where the contract is contingent on it being approved as a short-term rental. Okay, next biggest consideration is cost. So there is kind of a balance. Now you're gonna wanna jump into this short-term rental game and you're gonna be like, okay, let's find the cheapest place. We're gonna rent it for the most money. It doesn't really work like that. There is a balance of profitability you kind of have to strike. And from looking at close to 50 properties in the last couple weeks, it seems like this 550 to 750 range is really kind of the most profitable, where you have enough space to where you can sleep a lot of people. Like this house could maybe sleep 10 people. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, pool, easy drive to the beach, single family home in a quiet neighborhood. And as we looked at a lot of these properties, it does seem like that price range does have the most potential to where you can maximize the space, you can still turn a profit relatively easily. Now, you've got to know how to run it. So we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about some major considerations to take into account. But wrapping up cost here, one thing I want to think about is fixed costs. So obviously, we talk about insurance all the time. A lot of these houses that are allowed for short-term rental have flooded in the past. So homeowners insurance and flood insurance is going to be a fixed cost. Now, maybe that is $500 a month total. Maybe not too bad. You're thinking, okay, I got to rent it out for 2 more nights every month to cover that. There's a lot of ways to do that math, and that's takes some practice on your side. But these fixed costs are just something to keep into consideration. I don't typically point people toward houses that have flooded in the past. You guys know my own story with dealing with flooded houses. I don't want any of you to have to deal with that. One thing that my client and I were just talking about is building the house and the experience, the property, for your ideal avatar. Just like me making these videos and talking to you about the area, I'm always talking about my kids and I'm saying I'm from a small town. I'm trying to find ideal clients for me and my business. And the thing is, you can't have a house that is perfect for everyone. Some people are gonna think it's too far from the beach. Some people are gonna think it's too close. Some people want a pool at home. Some people just wanna go to the beach. Some people want games at home. Some people wanna be close to the grocery store. Like you can't decide what everyone is going to like or hate about your property, but you have to design it for your ideal avatar. So let's say I'm your ideal avatar. I have 3 young kids. I probably don't want a pool at the house, but a lot of people do. I probably want a lot of games. I want a neighborhood where we can walk. I wanna be close to the beach. So my consideration of what I would rent for my family is going to be a lot different than someone else, but you have to kind of design it for an avatar that is perfect for your property. Going back real quick to fixed costs, because we've looked at some condos, I mentioned condos. Condo fees are just another consideration you have to keep in mind. And even there are some that allow short-term rentals, and not very many. When they do, they're usually walking distance to the beach, which is really cool. But the monthly fees on the condo association are typically pretty high. They're typically $1,000 to $1,200 every single month. So that always just needs to be part of your math. But let's go into some special considerations, because if you guys are interested in doing this, you have to think like a business owner, like a hotel operator almost. Special considerations, number one, I've seen by far here in the Tampa area, the operators that are running these really well, they're maximizing outdoor amenities. So they have the cool pool, they have a eating area outside, they have putting greens, they have outdoor bowling, they have all kinds of things like this. I saw one with a pickleball court. We actually looked at a property yesterday that had a backyard that could fit a pickleball court. We were talking through that. But that kind of maximized outdoor amenities where people don't feel like they have to leave the house to do something really draws people in. Another special consideration is this is a long-term investment, this kind of property. You're trying to get really good reviews, and the goal is eventually to get repeat customers. Maybe these people even book directly through you if you have some kind of website, or if you just have your contact information made available to them. And that is the goal. You make a lot more money when people book off-site, off of Airbnb, off of VRBO, and book through you directly. And then finally, you have to remember to add personality. You have to add things, like I'm gonna show you outside, like these swings they have here, like the putt-putt, like the little things, the murals like on the walls, like all these kind of things have to be added in. This level of personality has to be there. And the way I like to think of it is you wanna add enough personality where people would mention those things in the reviews. We loved the brass monkey light fixture. We felt like we were in a jungle. Like, you want that kind of stuff to come through in the reviews, but it has to be memorable enough. It has to have enough personality to actually stand out to somebody. If you're interested in any kind of properties like this, I'd love to hop on a Zoom call, just process your situation and see kind of what it looks like for you. So you can give us a call, text, or email anytime. We can set that up. But it's super exciting. Airbnbs, short-term rentals are thriving down here in the Tampa area, and there's a lot of opportunities for all kinds of properties and all kinds of budgets, but really that range is where we're seeing the most success right now. So if you're interested in any of this, or you just made it to the end of the video, I definitely want to hear from you. Thanks for sticking around, and thanks for always coming back.